because we really don't have a lot of time today, so let's go ahead and roll solo. Hi, welcome back to Rolling Solo after that brief cut. This is Campaign 2, Session 5 of Rolling Solo as we follow the adventures of Auriane, Ursula, and Kolbrá as they attempt to get Kolbrá married, get Auriane her soul back, well, metaphorically speaking, and have Ursula just do her damn job. But before we get started on that, let me explain that this is a Daggerheart actual play show where I am playing Daggerheart Solo and letting you in on all the trouble that might end up being. Apologize for the messiness. There are things that we could do to make this nicer, but alas, we have not done those things and do not have time to do them today. Before we get started, let's do some disclaimering and let you guys know that this video was created using the Darrington Press Community Gaming License. The Daggerheart Open Beta Materials are owned and copyrighted by Darrington Press, LLC. All rights are reserved. This video is based on the following public game content created and owned by Darrington Press. Daggerheart Open Beta Materials, Darrington Press, LLC, 2024, available at daggerheart.com. This product is adapted from or based on content created and owned by Darrington Press, Daggerheart Open Beta Materials, Darrington Press, LLC 2024, available at daggerheart.com. So, with that out of the way, last week, our intrepid heroes managed to run into an old school friend of Kolbrá's in the town of Trefoya. They needed to get out of town because someone is trying very hard to kill Kolbrá and has sent 2 sets of assassins after her so far. We went and found this old friend whose name was Hallberg, who ends up being somebody who, for fun or profit, shoots rapids on a tributary river that is heading to a larger river that heads down to the town of Felvavik, which is where they were going by road. So now instead of going by road, they're going by river. And we had 2 sequences in the rapids. Both the canoes and the party members survived both. We had a momentary interlude by the riverbank where we found out a little bit more about Auriane's backstory, or what she's willing to share. And we closed with a couple of things happening. Number 1, we've triggered a countdown. The party has a bit of a lead, but the lead has been cut into because the Master of Assassins found out that they were seen leaving town, traced them to the shop, and then just intuited that this is the best way to go. So, or to Hallberg's place of business. So the Master Assassin is on their trail and has sent people to try to capture them, or, well, kill them. And we will see if those people get to Felvavik before or after our party members do. We closed out coming in an evening scene. They've spent the day shooting the rapids. They're coming up to where these 2 rivers meet, and where these 2 rivers meet, there is a landing town. So let's do a little bit of game management. So our initial idea for this scene would be that Kolbrá, Auriane, and Ursula and Hallberg would swing into this town. It's a place that Hallberg knows pretty well. She does this a lot. And so she's going to come in to town and easily find an inn. So our idea for this scene is going to be that we're basically going to have a tavern scene. We're going to have one of those things where the people are going to get to know each other and nothing much is going to happen. So let's say that our chaos level at this point, I'm going to stick with a D8. And let's use our new camera. And let's see if we roll a D8, what we get on that D8. So, this is a D8. So anything above a 3 and something will happen here. So that's a 4. Which bans mutation, a small change in the scene. Okay. Okay, so what is a small change that we could make in this scene to make the scene different or better or worse? Let's look at our word clouds. Let's pick a word cloud. Not going to bother. There we go. That is so loud, it's amazing. Word cloud 1. I think it'll be fun to roll for this. What do we got here? Game, crime, bad luck, illusion, lies, intrigue, depravity, insanity, sleight of hand. Let's just roll for it. Let's roll for it. I guess. Cover your ears while I play with my new toy. That is the 20 on this die. The 20 environment. That's not even on the list. So I don't know what to do with that. A small change in the environment. The small change in the environment is going to be that, whereas initially my idea, my vision for the scene was going to be that, given that Kolbrá is loaded, she's a princess, and given that they are trying to keep themselves sort of off the track, the small change in the environment is going to be that instead of being able to get like a private dining room, they're going to have to go into the main tavern and kind of eat with people. So easily enough, they pull their boats up. Ursula is going to attempt, or Hallberg is going to, she and her business have storage here, so she is easily able to stash her boats and find out when the next, if she's going to be able to get a boat the next day, taking them down to Felfavik. So the idea is they're going to take the canoes down this small river, and then when they get to the larger river, they're going to take more like a river boat or a barge, something larger, and we'll see what it carries. So let's see what we're going to get there. So we'll play out that scene just a little bit as well. Hallberg, this kind of broad-shouldered, stocky, orcish woman, orcish woman, kind of, lands the boats and kind of tells everybody, just stay here, I'll be back. Go and do some talking. So they pull up to a dock, and she like kind of leaves them there while she climbs out of the boat up onto the docks, goes and talks to another person, somebody who is in charge of her, who's in charge of her business in this area. We'll go ahead and do a quick roll here. 65, just to find out what kind of person this is. So it's a simia, so a kind of think of a baboonish type individual, somebody who's a little bit more like a person size, but a little bit more furry, a little bit of a snout, larger canine teeth, kind of a tail poking out of their trousers, and kind of has a tendency to kind of lean forward as they walk. They're walking on both of their, they're walking bipedally as you would expect, but it's kind of clear if you look, they're not wearing shoes. They've got like more manipulatable feet than we would be used to seeing in your more ape historic bipeds like ourselves. And she goes to talk to this kind of bulky simia, kind of grayish fur. They have a quick discussion. You can see, like, sort of some gesturing. This clearly goes well because Hallberg returns to the boats, says, "Okay, all right, everybody, they're going to take care of the boats for us, so we'll just go down to, I happen to know there's one inn in this place, so we'll go there." So we're walking through this settlement, and this is truly like, this is a landing. There are docks. There are various barges tied up at the docks. This is a place where people pull in as they're making their river journeys downstream, because it's dangerous to try to navigate the lower part of this river in the dark. You wouldn't want to be, there's rocks, there's logs, there's hazards. You have to be able to see where you're going. And so this is a place where people will tie up, stop over. Most, crews will sleep on the barges for the most part, but, there are places to tie up the boats. There are places to get some rudimentary supplies. There are places to eat and drink. So anyone who's not staying on the boats has like gone in and gone to this tavern. So as we go in, this is a fairly raucous tavern. I would say it's fairly likely that there would be music playing, but let's go ahead and make a quick d20 roll for that. It's not plot crucial, so I won't roll in the tower. It's a 16. So that's, for sure, there's music in this tavern. It's sawdust on the floor, rough wooden tables, smell of fried food, lots of, I guess, do you call them sailors? If they only work on rivers and not on the ocean, we'll say yes. We have lots of sailors and dock workers kind of talking and chatting amongst themselves. You can see the difference between like dock and ship or boat is pretty clear in here, and there's maybe even a little bit of tension. So as we recall, like the Kolbrá's family sends logs down the smaller river, and because logging is kind of like the business that they're in, um, among other things. But that's one of their business lines, and so, um, I don't know why that became relevant. Never mind. But that aside, so we can see this kind of low, kind of cheap tavern, very roughly built, full of rough people. It does have some nicer rooms that are available, but after a moment, like the group kind of hangs near the door briefly, looking around. Hallberg goes in and talks to the owner, who's a very nice, who's a clank. Are they a clank? Nope, they're a demon. A very nice demon who, scarred, limping, looks like maybe they lost a limb at some point, who kind of gestures and shakes their head no. There's Hallberg comes out and says, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to, I managed to get a room, just one. That's all they have. They're very crowded. The private dining is taken tonight. I'm not sure who. I didn't ask, but in any case, we're going to have to stay out here. So let's just grab a table, and they'll bring us some. You guys grab a table. I'll see to that we get some food. So, they kind of ground muscle about. They are able, because if they aren't, the plot gets weird, to find a place to sit. Let's find out if they get a four-tupper. Let's just do a straight-up luck roll. We'll give them about a 20% chance. We'll roll with hope. No, we'll give them let's say 9 out of 12 that they don't end up seated where they have to shove in at a larger table with a smaller party. All right, so 9 out of 12, that's a 5. Good enough. We would have failed on a 10, 11, or a 12. So they're able to find their own table. Ales are brought. They are seated. We're going to say that there's probably 4 out of 12 chance, and we'll roll this on the fear die. There's probably a 4 out of 12 chance that somebody will recognize Kolbrá. What do we got there? That would be an 8. Oh. Yeah. Let's roll it again. Okay. That would be a 3. Since I didn't roll it in front of you guys, we're going to go with the 3 instead of the 8. Someone recognizes Kolbrá. Who? That's a good question, and one that we will use later. But that is interesting. So, someone will recognize her through the course of the evening. I think there's about a 1 out of 12 chance that they'll cause trouble. Let's say 2 out of 12. Okay, that is a 5. So they're not going to cause trouble, but they do recognize her. So characters come in, they sit down, they begin to have a conversation. Kolbrá kind of is seated as deep into the corner. They've got kind of this corner table, and she's kind of seated as deep into the corner as she can get. Hood up, staying incognito. Ursula has parked herself at the far edge outside of the table, is looking kind of seated to where she can see most of the room. Seeing where she's seated, Auriane is going to sit kind of opposite her so that they are kind of facing off, and between the two of them they have a full scan of the room at all times, bringing Hallberg in to sit next to Kolbrá. This is unusual territory for Hallberg, and this is a party that just wants to eat and go. But there's music playing, there's a raucous crowd, the vibe is pretty good, and I think I just figured out what to do with my somebody recognize them. I'm going to use that just to advance the pursuit a little bit. Which I just did in pen instead of pencil. Oh well. So, because every time she gets recognized, every time somebody sees who's there, it's just another breadcrumb for somebody to follow. Well, so there's not a lot of conversation happening at this table. And so as they sit, I want to fade out and do something I wanted to do earlier. So you'll have to bear with me on this one for just a moment. Because what I want to do here is I want to find some commentary. So this is Auriane is journaling. She's writing notes about her travels just as a part of a habit, and because we need somebody to. And so this is from her journal from last night. I'm sitting in a forest on the banks of a river in this strange foreign land. You wouldn't think things would be so different away from Cavay, but they are. It's colder there, for one thing, and the trees are slightly different. But it's more than that. In Cavay, I always felt attuned to the land, like I knew every step before I took it, like I was always walking on familiar ground. Here in Ashes, nothing feels familiar. The forests don't smell of home. They aren't cared for the way we care. They, whoever they are, sent more assassins last night, whoever is sending them. They broke into Kolbrá and Ursula's room and attacked them in their sleep. One for each of them. Although Kolbrá wasn't injured, Ursula was badly hurt, almost killed. I've known this woman for less than 2 days, and I've saved her life and the life of her ward twice. Although Kolbrá apparently has enough magic to throw a person almost 60 feet across a room and out a window, it's the only explanation for what happened to the second assassin. So she's stronger than I was giving her credit for. She's an intriguing person. Ursula tends to treat her like a precious object, like on the river today. Our new guide, Hallberg, is the only one of use with experience in this kind of insane river travel we did, taking these fragile barkskin boats through rapids that would certainly drown us if we fell into them. She took one boat with Ursula in the prow and Kolbrá sitting in the middle. Meanwhile, I got a boat all to myself. I'm surprised I'm alive. But what a rush. I couldn't stop smiling from the sheer joy of surviving. When I have something to do, something to focus on, I can forget how I failed Cedric, how I tried but failed to stop the death blow. But I can't forget. I did fail, and that will always be true. Frederick was right when he told me I had no right to be alive. I don't deserve joy. It's funny. I failed to save my own life, but I failed to save my own, but I can save this stranger. I take no pride in that, because obviously I could have done better. So that's kind of Auriane's headspace right now. Hallberg is a gregarious person. She's an open person, so she's going to attempt to. Hallberg has turned to her and is kind of talking to her, and Hallberg, this orcish, big, broad-shouldered orcish woman, was kind of very jovial and very much like, "Hey, you did very well on the river today. I've rarely seen someone who is with no experience navigate a boat, especially backwards." Ha ha ha! She gives her a little smack on the back. And Auriane is very distracted in this kind of scanning the river. So I definitely didn't mean to go backwards, and that was what's the word? Terrifying. That's the word. That was terrifying. Nonsense. You're a powerful warrior. From what I've heard, you have been in two very desperate battles just in the last 2 days alone. Kolbrá tells me that you have saved her from great perils. How could you be scared of something like a little river? Well, I mean, you see the thing about the river is that it does not care if you are. It does not care that you have an axe. It does not get frightened of you. It does not run. It does not die. It just keeps on going. It doesn't, no matter what you do. So yes, it's very scary. Oh well, I see. I think that I've never really thought about it that way. It's always been a friend to me, the river. Carries our goods downstream, carries me downstream, provides us with much entertainment. If you treat it with respect, the river will never. It will treat you with respect. If you treat it with respect, you can learn what it does. It's predictable over time. That could be, but I am not sure that the people in this land treat anything of the wilderness with the kind of respect that we would see things with back home. Really? What, don't think I quite know what you mean. Well, you build these places, these roads, these towns, you stay in them all the time. You never move on. You never give the land a chance to rest. You never give the world a chance to recover from your footprint. You just put the foot down and just stay there. Let it sink in until there is nothing but footprint. That's a bit harsh. I think Maybe we do. That's quite deep. That's quite deep for an evening like this. More ale for the table. This conversation has gotten a bit deep for Hallberg. She's going to kind of let it ride, and move on from this moment, because I think we've gotten something of what we wanted, and yes, more ale perhaps for the table. None more for me, thank you. Auriane continues with her constant scanning. Meantime, while this conversation is going on, Kolbrá is kind of watching the two of them. Ursula is watching the room, and Kolbrá is much more of an interior person. She's not going to jump into this conversation. She's just kind of watching her old friend and her new friend interact and trying to get a feel for what's happening there, while she lets her longtime bodyguard work, scan the room. Let's see. As we move through dinner and we're going to close out this scene, let's see if we can close where we want to, which would be optimally for the characters. They're going to get up, they're going to go to bed, they're going to get a long rest, they're going to pop up in the morning, and as we already know from before, Hallberg has found a boat that she believes will take them farther down the river in the morning. So let's just give ourselves, and mostly just because I've got a new camera and I want to play with it. And thank you, I appreciate it. We will, let's roll on the fear die, and let's say that there is, let's say 1 through 4, we get some kind of additional chaos to this scene. Oh my, that is a 3 on the fear die. Okay, so we get some kind of additional something in this scene. What do we get? So our chaos level is an 8. So let's roll our d8 and see what kind of thing has happened. And let me fade over there. That's a 2. And a 2, we made a chaos roll, and 2 is nothing. So we luck out. Well, the characters luck out. We are bereft of a chance to have something fun happen. And this kind of scene will kind of come to a close. They are all, but as we said earlier, they're all going to end up kind of in 2 rooms. We have Ursula and we have Kolbrá staying in one room, we have Auriane, we have Hallberg staying in the other room. And so, as they've eaten their food, had some ale, mostly drunk by Hallberg, with Auriane kind of, maybe helping Hallberg to the rooms. This is a river landing. This is a very you got to think of this as like a rough and tumble, almost frontier-y kind of place. So single level, exterior doors kind of thing for rooms. So finding their rooms to sleep in, and I think they're going to keep watches. Because they've been somewhat frightened over the nights. So Ursula and Ursula will come to just to Auriane and just be like, so first watcher, second. First. They're both bodyguards. They don't need to communicate too much about this kind of thing. They know what they need to do. So we have some watches, and which leaves us with very little time for conversation. But so as Auriane kind of camps out in the shadows near the front of the 2 rooms, Kolbrá and Ursula will have kind of a time for a brief moment. The dice camera was like, the whole rig was like $20-30. It was a best money I've spent. So they're going to have time for like a brief moment. Kolbrá is concerned, so her feeling is, Ursula, I find it difficult. You treat me as if I'm still a child. 2 days on the river, I never touched a paddle. I was always in the middle of the boat. You're not as strong as I know how strong I am and am not. Thank you. I could take a watch. Those assassins came in. I killed one of them. They killed you. And that's something I can't forget and do not wish to repeat. I'm just saying, I'm more powerful than you think I am. I can do more. Perhaps. Hard to see the child grow into the woman, but it's my job to protect you. It's great that you can do the things you can do, that you can be powerful, that you can be strong. I'm proud of you. But you can never be on the front line. You can never be the person who's in front of me. That's just not how this works. I'm not saying I want to be the person in front of you. I'm saying I'm worth more to this journey than being a package carried from point A to point B. Okay. I'm sorry. Maybe we have been treating you like you're more fragile than you really are. And that's on me. No one knows how strong you are. No one knows your strength better than I do, Kolbrá. But I don't think you're going to take a watch tonight, because you're just not going to be the one on watch. You can't be the only one awake. You can't be the first one in the line of fire. You're too valuable, and I think you know that. So let's get some sleep, and you let me take my watch when it's time for me to take my watch. Okay? Well, I suppose I have no choice. One would think that you were in charge around here. Always have been. And the two of them will, finish their getting ready for bed. So this was kind of a pickup episode. I just wanted to pick up from the last episode and move on. Let's just go through the night watches and see if anything happens. I'm going to say it's reasonably unlikely that anything's going to happen. Because even though we were recognized, we checked last week, or we checked on Saturday if anyone was going to start something as a result of that recognition, and we determined that they weren't. So they're not in direct and imminent danger. We don't think there are any assassins nearby, but let's roll anyway and see if anything happens. So we'll start with the first watch, which Auriane is on watch. We will say that it is unlikely. So we will ask the question of the Oracle, is there an incident in the night that requires Auriane's attention? And if there is, we will figure out what to do with it when we get it. Unlikely will give us a -3. So we're looking, oops. Let me find my die here. Here we go. And that is a 14. 14 -3 is 11. What do we get on an 11? 11 would be a weak yes. There is something that requires her attention. So I will say that there are a couple of people walking by, and we'll just see if, noticing Auriane, if they're going to want to cause her any trouble. We'll make this a presence roll for her to just be intimidating. Her presence is a +1. And she is going to use Bodyguard to give herself a +3. And we'll set our difficulty for this at, let's say, 10. And let's get my... the solid red is fear, the lighter red is hope. So that is a 12, 13, 14, +3. So she's going to pass that presence roll, but she's going to pass it with fear. Giving me a little bit of fear to work with, should I choose to. And I'm just going to take that fear for the moment. Then we'll move on to Ursula's watch. And let's see. And Ursula, the Blood Hunter die, is her hope die, and the purple die is her fear die. So first question, does anything happen on Ursula's watch that requires her attention? 10 -3, no. So her watch passes without incident. We wake up in the morning. Hallberg will go and get arrangements made for the boat while everybody else gets breakfast. That is where we will open up next time. So that was fun. I'm glad we got to pick that up. I will splice Saturday and today together and release them on YouTube. So thank you so much for joining me. As always, should you want a Rolling Solo t-shirt or any other t-shirts, you can find them at etsy.com/shop/solidsoftdesign. Even if you don't want one, you can still go and look at them. And they'll be there, whether you buy them or not. And beyond that, just keep on rolling.